NBA Free Agency Primer: the top players, worst values, and best bargains. NBA Free Agency opens at 6 p.m. EST on Sunday. Teams cannot actually sign players until July 6 at 11 a.m., when the league lifts its moratorium, but they can make handshake agreements in the meantime. Then, it's just, we already know recently traded All-Stars Anthony Davis and Mike Conley are on the move, but who will join them? We tried to simplify. Incumbent team Toronto Raptors. Chief competitor Los Angeles Clippers. Rumored suitors Brooklyn Nets, Los Angeles Lakers, New York Knicks. Kiesa Leonard is the final. Incumbent team Golden State Warriors. Chief competitor New York Knicks. Rumored suitors Brooklyn Nets, Los Angeles Clippers. In the aftermath of Durant's torn Achilles tendon, the Warriors and Knicks are still expected to offer him a max contract despite his expected absence for all or most of next season. That means 5-year. Incumbent team Boston Celtics. Chief competitor Brooklyn Nets. Rumored suitors Los Angeles Lakers, New York Knicks. Irving just enjoyed his best statistical season, but there is considerable risk in committing long-term to him as the best player on a team with title aspirations. The 27-year incumbent team Philadelphia 7.6 ERS. Chief competitor Houston Rockets. Rumored suitors Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat. As Philadelphia's lone capable shot creator late in playoff games, Butler is worth more to the Sixers than anyone else, pushing them within of the conference finals. He too carries back. Incumbent team Charlotte Hornets. Chief competitor Boston Celtics. Rumored suitors Dallas Mavericks, Los Angeles Lakers, New York Knicks. Waker's best season resulted in a third-team All-NBA selection, which puts him in line for a Supermax extension from the Hornets worth $221 million over the next 5 years. The Hornets may not. Next 5: Klay Thompson, Kristaps Porzingis, D'Angelo Russell, Al Horford, Chris Middleton. We're a year removed from Ariza being a key to Houston's spread offense and switching defense, and what a year it's been for the 33-year-old journeyman wing. He took a big payday. The 30-year-old all-defensive guard pesters everyone from Damian Lillard to Kevin Durant. He has also the 7-footer emerged as a rim protector, starting half a season alongside LaMarcus Aldridge on the 61-win San Antonio Spurs in 2016-17. He cashed that into overlooked in Houston's 6-game conference semifinals loss to Golden State, the flu that kept Rivers from playing in a Game 1 that came down to the final minute. The Rockets were once a teen sensation. The Spaniard is now a 28-year-old in search of his third NBA team in 4 years. When Utah dealt for next 5: Seth Curry, Ed Davis, Danny Green, Wesley Matthews, Terrence Ross. He fit well with the Warriors and was headed that way alongside the young Kings building blocks, but at what cost? Barnes of the fine. Nearly half the league could have max cap space, and a few teams can create 2 max slots. With only a handful. In his 4th season with the Warriors, Looney emerged as their most dependable center, a rim runner and protector who holds his own when switched on to guards and pick-and-roll defense. The league got along. The former top 10 pick left a lot of Lakers fans regretting his exit last season, when he averaged 21.4 points, 60.0 true shooting percentage, 8.7 rebounds and 3.1 assists as a 24-year-old on a Pelicans team in turmoil. Randall Chase, the 7-footer, just enjoyed a contract season for the averages, averaging career highs of 20.8 points, 12 rebounds and 3.8 assists for a team that made the playoffs for the first time in his 7 seasons in Orlando. That's what might. Next 5: Rodney Hood, Nikola Mirotic, Marcus Morris, Terry Rozier, Jonas Valanciunas. The 42-year-old is returning for a 22nd and final NBA season, so long as the league will have him. he has spent it's hard to gauge what the market will be for players like Collison, who played his last 2 seasons in Indiana for $10 million. With so many available, he was somewhat of a savior for a reeling Rockets team, effectively filling the wing void left by Ariza and Luc Mbah a Moute this past season. In 39 games, at 34 years old with a litany of leg ailments, he is no longer the Defensive Player of the Year that anchored Tom Thibodeau's Bulls, but as he proved in Memphis this past season, he's also not cooked in the way it seemed he might be before ya. In limited minutes, the 2-time All-Star is still on his way back from the hip injury fatigued by the Celtics, Cavaliers, Lakers, and now Nuggets. Thomas returned, next 5 Wilson Chandler, Jamichael Green, Robin Lopez, Elfrid Payton, Nick Stauskas. Ace, a staff writer for Yahoo Sports. Have a tip? More from Yahoo Sports. Related slides show the top picks in the NBA draft provided by Imane.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.